Welcome back to another Red Lipstick Talk. So, hello everyone on YouTube. We're doing live on YouTube and Instagram at the same time. So I'm hoping that it works on both. So I'm just waiting for Nefertiti to join on Instagram. Hello, Cassius Clay. Hello, I don't know who the FND 3131 that joined. Welcome. Um, Say hello as you're coming on to Instagram or YouTube so that we can know that you're there. I see people coming on to YouTube. Hello. So we're doing another episode of Red Lipstick Talk. Say hello, let us know you're here. And we're going to be, so basically, okay, Nefertiti's requested to be on, got her on. All right. So Nefertiti and I are girlfriends who met in Salvador over 8 years ago, feasting on this amazing meal in front of Salvador. Here she is.
Hello, Renee.
Hello. So, yeah, let's turn this volume down. All right, so let us know that you hear us, and then we're gonna go ahead and get started since we have people both on Instagram and YouTube. So we decided to start this Red Lipstick Talk on Friday nights, so we could just kind of share what we've been through living here in Brazil. We both live here in Brazil. I'm in Rio, she's in Salvador, and just
Yes.
really share the different stories, the different things that we experience. And honestly, I can't wait to hear about how your week was, because this is just new moon recently, and we both kind of go into ceremony. So tell us a little bit about. I know you said you were telling me, you left me a message about the ceremony that you did, and I was like, oh my God, I want to do this. I want to go through this ceremony. So yeah, hello, beautiful.
Yes. Hello, Renee. It's been another week of quarantine. Hello, everybody. Another week of being with ourselves in for long periods of time without external distractions. And I wanted to share that this week I was blessed to have been given a ceremony. So last week I was speaking with my wonderful friend Susana Cáceres, and later on I will put her Instagram up for folks who want to know more about her work as a healer, as a curandera, as a drum circle woman, as a queer, indigenous, a spiritual person. And I was talking with Susana last week about life, you know, how we're doing, how we're struggling, how we're having a hard time. And she had mentioned to me that she had run a ceremony for somebody. And when I speak ceremony, I speak in the sense of giving space for reflection about what the divine messages are telling us about our path. And really just letting your own voice be heard and having somebody hear you as well. I think that's really something important to mention when I think about the ceremony that we did together. Is she just held space for me for 2+ hours as she sort of guided the direction of what these messages were being shared, were being told us. So she said, you know, I did a ceremony for a friend. If you'd like, I can do one for you. And I was like, thank you. I was like, what a wonderful gift.
You know, ceremony like this before?
I'm sorry?
Have you ever done a ceremony like that before?
Well, so traditionally, so Susana and I, we are part of sort of the indigenous Chicano native ways in the Bay Area community. That's where we both, when I'm back in the States, that's who I connect with. And it's a lot of folks from the teepee ceremony community, from the Teocalli, the Sweat Lodge. And through those traditions, usually folks call ceremonies for themselves. So, they might be feeling that they're struggling with something, that they need support or extra prayer around something. So they'll call a meeting. And when everybody gathers, it's to pray for that person. The intention is that person. The intention is to listen to that person. And the intention is to really pray, direct your prayers for that specific person. So it's a really powerful collective, empowering space for you to be held in that way for extended period of time. And I, even though I've had years of participating in this community, I've never felt the courage to call a ceremony for myself. I never, because it's a lot of attention on you, but it's also, I think there's a lot of fear around it, because it's like, okay, I'm going to commit to revealing whatever it is that needs to be revealed. And there'll be all these witnesses there with me holding my hand. But, it was just, it's exposing a lot. So I wasn't ready. And so this was the first time, even though, I'm 35, I first came into this circle when I was 19. So more than 15 years. And only now is the first time that I actually opened space for a ceremony for me. Mm-hmm. So that was a big step.
Can I ask you, because I'm just really curious, so you joined this community at 19 years old. Mm-hmm. So what made you decide to join this community as opposed to joining a church or, becoming Buddhist or something? What was that like to be like, I want to join this indigenous faith?
Yeah. So I was raised Catholic, as many of us from the diaspora in the Caribbean and Latin America are raised. So I had been raised Catholic, and it never made sense to me, the stories, the rules, it didn't resonate with me in a way that felt like it was deepening or strengthening my connection with God and with all of the other spiritual entities that exist. So I went to college, and college is a place. So where I grew up in a very white town, and my family were the few folks of color. And so us being immigrants, so us being different was always very clear and very pronounced. And when I went to college, I finally found, all of the Latino, Latinx, Chicana, Black. It was like, okay, I found myself. And you go through this whole politicization process around identity politics, about figuring out who you are, about discovering the history that is a part of you that was always denied because of colonization. So you go through that whole process. And through that process, I also really identified and embraced my indigenous identity and heritage. So my family's from Guatemala, which is more than 80% indigenous. And when I say indigenous, it's communities that are 100% indigenous in terms of their genetic, heritage. And the rest, it's mixed with European or Afro-descendant. And so my family on my father and mother's side, it's a mix of all three, but predominantly indigenous and Afro-descendant. So, at that time when I got there, because of my immigrant identity, we spoke Spanish. So who I sort of connected more with was the Latinx community, which was in a process of a lot of those folks about connecting with who they were spiritually. So what are the spiritual practices that were denied to us and taken away? And a lot of that had to do with these different indigenous practices and ways that, part of sort of reclaiming who we are, going through this process of decolonization had to do with these spiritual practices. So that's how I got into it. Okay. It was about that.
Awesome. Yeah. So because of fear, it was just like, you never really asked for a ceremony with you, because you were like, okay, wait, this means I'm going to be held accountable for whatever they say they had to do. And there's going to be witnesses. And so before you share what the ceremony was like, so what happened now to make you say, okay, yes, I want ceremony? What led you to get through that fear and be like, no, I need this right now. This is something that's going to help me?
Yes. So I think that I'm a person that lets myself be absorbed by sexy and enticing distractions.
Ooh, did you say sexy and
Yes,
enticing
yes.
distractions?
Whether it's going out, whether it's, I'm a percussionist, I'm a dancer. I like being in spaces that are about movement and excitement. I'm always moving. I'm on the bus all the time. I'm going places. I'm very, pedestrian, and I'm also really excited by what's outside of my space. So I generally, who I am as a person, I spend little time at home. That's always been since I was, in high school and could drive and I would just always spend as much time as I could out of my house. So now that this space of the last month has forced me to just be here and have nowhere else to be, um, I, I've been sort of revisiting old thought patterns that I thought I had been over, that I thought I had overcome. Just old feelings about who I am, what my worth is, just like what my direction is, what my point is on this earth. A lot of these crises started coming up again in a
Mm.
really intense way. And I was sort of not sure what was happening because I thought I had gotten over it. I'm 35, I've done so much. Like, why are these issues still coming up?
Mm-hmm.
And because I have not, what I'm focusing on, I'm not really totally working because I'm an artist and everything's on pause, some ideas of things, but it's minimal. So I'm really focusing on me, taking care of my body, eating good these last,
Mm-hmm.
weeks. So given that, I was like, okay, I think I need to do something. I can't see a priest or a babalao because I usually also see Ifa priests to also align different things energetically and spiritually. But I can't see anybody. I can't go to ceremonies. I can't. What do I
Mm.
have is just connection and talking to the people that I know and trust.
Right.
And so I was talking about these issues I'm having with my friend, and she was like, why don't we do a ceremony? And I was like, a ceremony online? I was like, you're one of those people, I already had like, no, I don't want to share. I was very like, afraid of what could come up. And she was like, no, I did it for a friend. What do you have to lose? And it's like, yeah, what do I have to lose? And what else am I going to be doing with my time? Why not? So I agreed to it, and a week later, so we did this yesterday. And it's funny. There's a saying that as soon as you sort of make the intention to do some sort of healing work or ceremony, I've heard this both in the indigenous circles and also in some Ifa circles. The moment you decide, suddenly all these sort of challenges come up that
Oh
kind
my
of
God.
block your path. And it's almost like and what I've heard is like it's like the universe and the cosmos are testing how much you actually really want
Mm-hmm.
this intention for yourself.
And I call it initiation. You got
Yes,
to go through an initiation
yes,
process.
yes. So yesterday, what happened was, of all the days, my internet company decides to do maintenance. So all day yesterday, no internet. I was like, oh man, this is my ceremony. What am I going to do? Like the day I'm going to do it, how can I make this happen? So I was trying to figure out other ways to have it happen. A ceremony virtually with no internet doesn't really work well. So I was like, is my phone service good enough? I don't have good phone service in here. And, I was just like, okay, if it's meant to happen, then it'll open up. So I kept letting my friend know every hour. I was like, still not on, still not on. But, I'm still planning for it. So even though I was, not sure it would happen, I still went through the process of preparing.
Mm-hmm.
So she told me to really think about uh, doing some sort of, you craft something that represents the intentions of what you're letting go and letting in. So a lot of folks do tobacco bundles where they just wrap it up in cloth and tie them, and they make sort of a chain. And I did a hair bundle because what I had been feeling, it was so intense. My feelings around my inadequacy as a person, my lack of confidence, my lack of motivation was so intense that I felt like I just wanted that part of me to disappear. Like I wanted it to literally be cut off. So I had been thinking about, well, maybe what I could do is cut my hair off to sort of represent cutting my head, just like starting new. I wanted to just, do a clean sweep. So I was like, I want to just, I had death really sort of on my fingertips of wanting that to represent ending this sort of thought pattern and these tendencies of how I feel about myself emotionally. So I had cut pieces of my hair and wrapped it in little pieces of coffee filter to be environmentally friendly. And I had made the chain and, so I did all these different things to prepare. And 10:30 at night, my internet comes on and I'm like, Susanna, the internet came on. I was like, can you please have time for me? She's like, yes, let's do it. Okay, so I go on and we connect and we chat a little bit about life. And then she's like, okay, are you ready? I'm like, I'm ready. Look at, she said you want to prepare the space with all the 4 elements. So you want to have earth, water, fire, and wind. So I had all that laid out and I was like, I'm ready. I'm ready, girl. I'm ready for this. This is the time. And so she began by pulling a card from a book called The Collective Tarot. And it's out of print, but it was really powerful. The card she pulled was reception. And she read the card. And I'm going to read just a snippet of it because I think it was really meaningful what it was all about. So reception, AKA the Empress. So a godly hand holds a tiny pan-gendered being. Inside the big hand, the little person floats on a small sea. The night sky is rich with stars. The moon is full. Within the moon, a fig is cut open, revealing countless seeds. The ripe fruit is mirrored in the belly of the floating person. In the background, fields are heavy with grain. When you draw the reception card, you are both the hand that holds and the small person being held. You are the moon, and the belly is your belly. Both are fed by a simple echo of the other. You are the grain, easy in the night's breeze, dropping seeds effortlessly. You are the night while you can't explain the night. In this moment, you have set aside dissection. You understand that when we take something apart, we can no longer enjoy the whole of it. Reception is a call upon your fierce and nurturing internal mother. It is an invitation to treat yourself with the care, understanding, and protection that any infant or child should be given. It is about pregnancy. It is an overture to find out what truly turns you on sensually and sexually. You are being asked to indulge in these things as a means of allowing your own creativity to deliver and grow. Sadly, many of us deny ourselves this role and attention because we didn't receive such treatment as children. We feel triggered by notions of motherhood, and in turn, we become unwilling to receive mothering from ourselves and others. For various reasons, we often have negative associations with the bodies that bore us. And I'm going to skip to another piece here. So this was huge because it was calling on me to assume mothering myself. And one of the big points that it said, so there's 2 more pages, it was a long card, was that you need to think of yourself as a channel of wisdom and not personalize what comes out, but rather accept and honor what the universe has chosen to move through you. Say yes to what makes you feel good, tender, and no to what the heart says doesn't. Dance and dance in conception. So I was like, whoa, this, and then my friend was like, so, this is about you mothering yourself. Because I had told her about wanting to cut my head and, And I had told her, it's funny, my issues have been, I come up with ideas, and as soon as I come up, I've even said this, I think I said this to you, Renee, I feel like I have miscarriages of ideas. As soon as they are created, I sort of banish them from existing and even
Yes.
coming into fruition. And I told her that, and she was like, wow, you've had miscarriages. And so you're being asked to really assume yourself as someone who can mother who you are. And actually, that person who's having issues with herself, with her self-esteem, like that's your inner child. Something happened. What happened? And so I started to talk about, my issues with my body and how I feel like it's an obstacle. And it goes back to me being a little kid in a dance school full of white girls, white, middle upper class girls who would stare and look at me because I couldn't do things the way they did. And that still sits with me. So I started breaking that down, and she was like, did you ever talk about this? And I was like, no, I never did, because my mother, she's very affectionate, and she showed love the way that she could, in the best way that she could. But she was never able to sort of give us space to say what we were feeling, and then to listen to it, and then to sort of affirm that we're people that value. And so I started talking about this with her, and she said, yeah, so now this card is asking you, this moment of being with yourself and no distractions is asking you to take up that role of mothering that inner child who is there, like telling you that she's still there and she still has things that haven't been resolved. And you have the opportunity to be the mother that you have always dreamed of, and to tell that inner child what she's been needing to hear for so many years.
Wow.
And I was just like, woo!
I can imagine.
So it was really powerful, because I think that we let ourselves, in the busyness of life, kind of shut up the little child. And I had told her, oh my God, you're so right. Like, and here I was this whole time wanting to kill this child, wanting to silence this child, wanting to be like, stop, stop expressing yourself, go to your room and hide the way you have been for this whole time. And, with all this pause and silence, she's finally sort of banging on my door and being like, hey, no, things aren't resolved, and I need a mother to help me get through this. And so, yeah, so the rest of the ceremony was just talking about, was Susana, my friend, sort of giving counsel about, what it means to listen to our inner child, and really giving her the space to speak. And who is the mother that I want to be? Like, what is it that I want to give space to? What is it that person, little Neffy, we started calling her little Neffy, like, what did she always want to hear, and what can I tell her now? And
Nefertiti, somebody's saying that they can't hear you on Instagram.
Oh.
They said they could only hear me.
Okay. I'm going to probably have to hold it. Can you hear me now?
Pode falar, se dá para ouvir ela agora.
Can you hear me?
Portuguese.
Hello? Okay. So I'm going to just hold it, because I had it on the table and it was blocking the speaker. Okay. So
Obrigada para aviso.
Yes. Obrigada por avisar. So yeah, so she was like, okay, big question. Now, how can everybody see? Wait. Here. So that was the big question she asked me, was how do I honor?
Pat Mateo is saying that he still can't hear you on Instagram.
Oh, it's because the volume is down. How can you hear me now? Agora? Dá para ouvir? Tá conseguindo?
Dá para ouvir ela agora?
Alô? Oi. Alô? Oi.
Testing, 1, 2, 3.
I turned the volume up, so he should be able to hear me now.
Okay.
Hello. So yes. So the question that was asked was, how will I honor my inner child? How am I going to do that? And one of the things she mentioned as a possibility, that she had, because she had also been talking about how other people she knows in her life are at this moment of recognizing their inner child, of um, of recognizing them as real people that exist and giving them space to exist. And so some people she knows have actually built altars specifically for that inner child. So a space that is meant for that inner child to have space to speak, to share what it thinks about things, and for you to also practice your mothering. And so I think that when she was like, a lot of your, I realized a lot of my blockage around my creativity and feeling like what I can't create anything good or worthy alone. I mean, I like to practice art collectively because it's something that people, I'm not in charge and I can kind of sort of hide behind people. But when it's about me sort of assuming space, I have a lot of issues around feeling like whatever I create will be worthy. And she said, when you start doing this work with your inner child, I think it'll allow space for your creativity to flow, because your creativity are the other children that, that you birth, like, and the seeds and all these other things. Yeah. I don't know why the audio isn't working in the Instagram. People are still having issues. Can you hear me, Renee? Let's see. Let me try and go in and out. Hello, hello. Nothing, huh? Hello, 1, 2, 3. Hello, everybody. No. Should I sign out and try to sign in again? Should I sign in again? Should I try and sign off and then sign in again? Let me try that. Hello. Now can you hear me? Okay. I'm connecting. Um,
Hello?
yes. Can you hear me? Let me try something. Okay, now can you hear me? Now can people hear me? Hello? Hello? No, huh? Nothing. Ah, technology again interfering.
Ok, so, povo, a gente está no YouTube. Se vocês quiserem ir para o meu YouTube, Prandara Prem, para assistir lá. If you want to go to YouTube, Prandara Prem, I'll put that on here if you want to just go ahead and keep talking, sharing your story.
Okay. Should I try to request to be on Instagram again?
Yeah, try again.
Okay, let me try one more time.
Sorry about this on YouTube. Um, this is what happens when we do live videos. But let's see. We're trying to get Nefertiti back on. Let's see if we can get her back on Instagram.
Technical difficulties, pause. I switched some headphones here. See if that helps.
Yes. Now we hear you.
Okay. Can you hear me in both spaces, Renee?
Wait, talk?
Ok, todo mundo tá ouvindo.
Now I'm not hearing you again on Instagram.
Ok.
Wait, talk again? Now it went out on Instagram again.
Ok, então, continuo com minha história? Should I continue with my story?
Yeah, continue on YouTube. People, it's still not working on Instagram. Join us on YouTube at Prandata Prim. I'm gonna try to send the link.
In my bio.
Oh, the link is in Nefertiti's bio. O link está no bio de Nefertiti. E é lá para assistir a gente. Vamos terminar no Instagram e fica na YouTube. So we're going to go ahead and end on Instagram and just continue on YouTube.
Gente, o link está no meu bio, certo? Pode conectar ali. Leave, tchau, ok.
Okay, go ahead. So you can continue sharing your story.
Okay. How is the sound over here without headphones? Can you hear me okay? Hello, hello? Earth, hello, Renee.
Yeah, sorry, I was just leaving a message. I muted here so I could tell everybody.
That's okay.
Say one more bye. Go ahead. Oh, now you're frozen here. Okay.
Ok. Continuamos, gente. Só falta pouquinho. There's just a little bit left in the story.
Okay.
So anyways, so what this ceremony brought up for me was that the feelings I was having about being inadequate, about not feeling motivated, about not feeling like I had faith in myself or the world, but mostly myself and what my capacity is. That was really my inner child, coming up because I've felt these kinds of thoughts for so long. And, my friend just helped me sort of think through, if she's still here, bringing up these issues, then there's still things that she needs to hear, and she needs to be listened to. And I can't treat her like whatever happened. I can't treat like what happened to me when I was young as something that didn't happen. So it's really about recognizing why she's crying and why she feels this way, and really talking her through it as a mother, as somebody who nurtures, as somebody who recognizes the value of that seed, as somebody who wants to see it flourish and grow and gives it the kind of attention that, I feel like an active listening parent does, or mother. So I had a moment of burning away my hair, which to me, when I first cut it, it was like, oh, these are the bad thoughts that I have. I just want them to go away. And after this whole revelation of me needing to be a mother, they actually represented this old way of being a mother that I no longer want to be, which is a mother who can't deal with a crying child, who doesn't know how to listen to that child. And I think that's what I learned, because that's how, my mother acted, because she was in survival mode. I think my mother parented a lot in that way, and I'm not in survival mode anymore. And so I think what my friend also pointed out is, you can be a mother that's not in a survival crisis context. And I think that
when she gets what she was like, when she gets what she needs, then she'll actually be calm, and you don't have to kill her. You don't have to sort of wish her away, but you can soothe her into being in this calm state where she doesn't have to sort of act out to be heard and recognized. So that was like, I was just like, oh my God, this is everything. So it was beautiful because it was a moment of recognizing that we have many sides to ourselves, and they're not always all resolved as we get older. And and the responsibility of being a mother, and like really assuming that I can be one as well, and that I need to be one, and that part of whatever I create, I mean, that point about not taking personal whatever your creativity is, that it's beyond me, and it's really about whatever is born as an idea is like a divine message, and I have a responsibility to share it. So really, like a mother sees that, what she's planting is not just for her to eat. She knows it's going to feed lots of people. And so really just shifting my perspective to being, okay, I'm in this moment now of birthing myself as the mother that I want to be for this younger version of me that really needs a mother to sort of resolve herself, and allow me today as the adult, as the mother that I want to be with myself, to move forward and evolve. So that was the end of my beautiful ceremony. And so today I brought this plant home to represent the mother that I'm trying to be. And
beautiful.
yeah, and just really to remind me that I have that job and that role, and that, yeah, there's that inner child is with me all the time. So the end.
And that's, and I'm so glad you shared that. It was so beautiful because, and it's funny because the mothering my inner child kept coming up for me this week as well. And I think for so many people, this is a time for us to really go within. And it's like, what better time to really be that mother or the father? We always talk about mothering that the child.
Right.
But sometimes there was a father that we needed that,
yes.
Maybe we could father that inner child.
Right.
And so, and it's interesting because this week, I've actually been working on that. I don't remember. I did something and I don't remember. I've done so many things this week. I can't remember what was what, but somebody brought this up about mothering the inner child. And one of the things that I started doing was listing, one by one, something that, I felt like was neglected in me as an inner child, and what would I have wanted my mom to do. And then I do that myself, and so I give that, like, there were times when I was a child and I really wanted to cry, like something happened and I was afraid, or, I wanted to be able to share that with my mom and be vulnerable. But my mom specifically wanted to raise me as this strong, tough child. So it was like, I wasn't really allowed to show my emotions because that was a weakness. And so as an example of that, like I will go back in and allow myself to cry, and I would allow myself, give myself what I needed at that time. And actually say, and this is what the person had told me to do, to say whatever it is that I needed to hear. And so it was like, you're loved, you're okay, you can cry, and that's beautiful, and that shows your strength, and I'm here for you, you're not alone. And I said those things to myself.
Yes.
And it was just, and it was just so beautiful, and it felt so good. And I cried, and it was like, and it's okay to cry. Like,
yes. and cry and say what you're upset about and what hurts you. But there's this other side of you that's like also wise and can be there for that. And that's what's like amazing, because now you're like, oh wow, there's really these two sides of me that exist.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. And so, and that was just so beautiful. And I think that everyone who's watching or will watch, that's just definitely something you can do, take that time to mother or father your inner child. and give yourself what you need, and talk yourself through whatever, and allow yourself to hear what's needed to
Mhm.
to to be said, what you need to
Mhm.
hear.
Mhm.
And who says we can't give that to ourselves,
Mhm. Mhm.
And so really is a great time right now to like be able to do this work. And so
Yeah.
I see, there's a lot of people on watching. Thank you. If you guys have, please share with us. Have you? How can you see yourself mothering or fathering your inner child? And you can speak in English or Portuguese because there might be some Portuguese people here, Nefertiti's friends. Então, vocês podem falar português também, me escreve aqui se você conseguir. Maybe you're better at explaining this in Portuguese. Trabalhar com um, sua criança interior, como falando as coisas de você estava precisando de sua mãe ou pai. I don't know. Go ahead and translate
Yes.
that. Nefertiti.
Yes. So it's like, okay, now, but for us who, like, I'm not a parent, I don't have children, but I think we know the kind of mothering or fathering that we need and that we want. I mean, I think that, whatever, I think being heard, just feeling like invalidated for whatever we're feeling when you're little, like that's so important. And so just being there and also being told that you matter and that you're amazing, like I think encouragement is the kind of, encouragement is like the water to the seed. And I mean, that's at least what I'm hearing myself inside instinctually. Like that's what's being told to me of what, I can practice right now, in terms of hearing my inner child. And I think some folks might be like, well, how do I know who's talking? Like if it's my inner child or if it's my older child or if it's just me adult. I think there the pattern tends to be, it's your inner child when you start to have thought patterns that feel really old and familiar, or when you start to have thought patterns that take you into a place of fear, of sadness, of insecurity. A lot of times, those feelings start when we're really young. And so I think when you start having those feelings around something, it's the moment that you can sort of stop and think about, okay, when else have I felt this way? And you sort of start tracing and tracing and tracing until, oh, I remember, like it was when I was 5, or it was when I was this age and I was in this situation or these situations that I would feel that way. And I think that's kind of how I identified my inner child, is like, in what situations did these feelings come up? And that's kind of where it was in these situations of, being in school as a young brown kid with white kids, and like the real impact of racism, like the inner child in me is still hurting from that, is still hurting really bad in such a way where I don't feel like I matter, like I have worth, or that my body is ever going to be good enough for anybody. And so it also made me really think about, well, how internalized racism plays in that aspect of dealing with our inner child. What other internalized isms impact how our inner child, you know, who that inner child is. I think racism was real. I think there's other instances where sexism comes up. There's issues of abuse. There's issues of classism. I mean, there's so many, like, to really recognize that there's these systems that informed the judgment people had on me and what that in turn made me do to myself. And really recognizing that, in a really intimate cellular level, the impact of that. So, but yeah, sorry, I kind of went on a tangent, but yes, recognizing your inner child, I think, starts with those feelings and then trying to trace back, like, where did this come from? And then once you find it, talking to that child.
I'm rubbing off on you. I be the one going off on a tangent talking, and you be like, straight to the point, Renee. That's cute. My ADHD be
Sorry.
real. The struggle is real.
Yeah. Well, I'm a new mother now, so I'm just excited. I want to share with the world.
Thank you. That was awesome. Awesome. So beautiful. And we're really still in that new moon energy.
Yes.
The new moon was on the 22nd.
Yeah.
But 3 days after, that new moon energy is still real, it's still real strong and powerful. So this is a good time to bring in, do that mothering to that inner child, or fathering to your inner child.
Yes.
And I definitely like to include both, because we get a lot of men and women coming on watching us. So sometimes the men need to father their inner child. And honestly, we all have both masculine and feminine energy inside of us.
Yes. Yes.
So, I can be a woman and still father my inner child, or
Mm-hmm.
mother my inner child, because I have that masculine energy too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And, so it's important to call in both of those sides and give us what we need. And sometimes,
Yeah.
hmm yeah. So it's important, and let's take advantage of this new moon, and really do some new work. Think
Yes.
about what it is how we want to change this cycle moving forward. And what we need, most importantly, and how we can give it to ourselves.
Yes. 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 Can you imagine if we all just, it was like the mandates, social
Hmm.
distancing, face masks, and connect to your inner child. Like
Right.
that needs to be part of the whole public health plan for everybody. Like it, you know, and my friend, she's like, I had a mother who actually gave me space to be heard, and she really listened to me and she was encouraging. So I don't have this inner child that has issues. What I do have is a young adult who has some issues. So there's a younger side of me that I'm working with. But she said, but what I think, is important is that we check in with these different phases of ourselves in the past, because they're still real and we didn't always resolve everything. More often than not, we would kind of, well, in my case, I would kind of just disappear and hope that disappearing would sort of resolve it itself.
Hmm.
And, that's, it was going to catch up with me at some point. And it took a pandemic for that to happen, but it's happening.
Let me tell you, everything is going to happen as it's supposed to and when it's supposed to.
Yeah, exactly.
So, this is
So yeah,
exactly what it's supposed to happen.
yeah. So it was so yes, celebrating our new identities as the caretakers that we want to be, that we've always wanted, to believe that we're capable of being those caretakers that we dream of. That's the best part, is like, oh, I can be who I always wanted to have, you know. And I think all of us can think about, well, what are the qualities of a caretaker, mother, father energy, um, that my younger self would love to hear and connect to. And if you have parents that were that model, like, such a blessing. And I think, um, I think it's about kind of continuing to model the kind of ways that we want to take care of, our seeds, like our ideas, but also whatever we produce in the world, whatever we share, whatever we give.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Whew. So yes, so I'm in the
Yeah.
process of building my altar for my younger inner child, specifically for her to have space, as a space also for me to always check in with me mothering not only her,
Hmm.
but the ideas that are born in me, to really make sure that they also thrive.
So, how will you create an altar for your inner child?
I don't know yet.
So, you know what? It's so funny. So, I never even thought about that. But now that you said that, I'm like, So, I'm actually thinking of
So that
doing
was
the same thing.
Yeah, that was
And
Susanna's idea, and I'm gonna
mhm,
share with you her Instagram if folks want to connect with her online, or
okay.
here, sharing it with.
Um, So, guys, if you have any questions, comments, thoughts, please go ahead and write it in and we can answer. But I was just thinking about that as you were talking about building an altar for your inner child. And I think I'm
Mhm.
going to do that too. And so, what I'm going to do is put things on there that I loved as a kid, like maybe something that could represent what I love to do, where
Yes.
I'd love, where I like to, where I used to love to go, and just different things like that,
Yeah.
maybe even writing a card to myself or something and putting it on the
Yes.
altar.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, she
So,
was great. I mean, she was like, that's one thing that she's also doing, and I'm going to figure out what that means. But to really just think about how am I going to give space to that inner child, whether it's an altar, whether it's writing to that inner child, having a specific journal that's just for the inner child. I think everybody has different modalities that make sense, but just thinking about, okay, how and where am I going to give space for this inner child to exist and
mhm.
and check in with me, and really understand as part of me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So awesome. So you're gonna put down Susanna's contacts in case anyone. I think I'm gonna want to do a little ceremony with her. It sounded so cool. Like I would
Oh, it
love
was
to hear.
wonderful. She was great.
Yeah, yeah. So she does this for anyone, or do you have so you don't have to be in the indigenous community
No, she just
in that
started
tribe?
to do it for people she loves and cares about. And I asked her, I was
Yeah.
like, you need to do this for the world. She's like, I'm going to take my time before sort of, offering it to the world. I think she's still really being mindful, almost in a
Mhm.
mothering way, about like
Mhm.
how, she nurtures people. But, she knows you and I'm sort of the link. So I'm sure she would be happy to check in with you about making that happen.
Awesome, awesome. Maybe we can do an exchange.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she was interested in my work.
Yeah,
So,
you're right.
oh, she did my course. So, so that'd be cool. Yeah. So maybe we can do a nice little exchange.
Great.
So, awesome. So, if anyone has any questions or anything, speak now or forever hold your peace. So, I don't think anyone has any questions because I did write it down a while back and no one said anything yet. So, thank you for watching another episode of Red Lipstick Talk. We're so excited. And remember to subscribe and hit that notification bell. It's important to hit the notification bell because that is what's going to send you the message that we're on live. So, so hit that notification bell. And you can find us on Instagram at Prandata Prim, PRANDHARAPREM, or Nefertiti underscore Charlene, NEFERTITI underscore CHARLENE, or on Facebook, Renee Adolphi or Nefertiti Charlene. So hit us up. We have some great stuff on our Instagram. You'll see her Nefertiti's art shows that's coming up, doing virtual shows. You'll see my projects as well with all of my well, I'll tell what's my stuff coming up and you can share what's your stuff that's coming up.
Okay.
So on Monday, I have a 3-week breath work and movement tantric basics course that's coming up. It's going to be every Monday at 7 p.m.
Wow.
Eastern Standard Time. And that's going to be really, really good. We're going to be using movement and breath work and dance and all kinds of stuff. I'm going to talk about the chakras and go in depth about the chakras. Also, I have a Patreon page. So check out my Patreon page, which is Pandata Prim. And I have some really great stuff. It's every Sunday I have self-exploration Sundays, really going in, asking deep questions to find out what blocks you from being able to self-explore, self-please. And then Mondays are Monday meditation, so we do some meditating on Mondays. And then Tuesdays are Tantric Tuesdays, so you get to learn all about Tantra. So really good. So join me on Patreon at Prandata Prim or join me on Instagram so you can find out what stuff that's coming up. And take it away, Daph.
Okay. So folks, yes, In my Instagram, in the bio, I will always have links to things I'm doing. I do Red Lipstick with Renee every Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. I am doing a contemporary dance project with 4 dancers. So we are developing work that takes into account the world that is the video, that is audiovisual. And so we always create different things. It's not a dance class, but it's different. We play with what the camera is, what the body is, and what the house is. And it's always fun. And it's, 15 minutes, 20 minutes of your time. So if you want to tune into that, see what it is that people in Brazil are creating, what we're trying to do, every Sunday, 2 p.m. I also run a cultural space that is currently suspended our activities, but we're trying to do things online. Every Thursday, we have a Portuguese language program called Construções Feministas, feminist constructions. We always invite feminists all over the world to talk about different themes and moving forward and building this new world from a feminist lens. So yes, right now that's what I have going on.
All right. So let me add here. So, this is moving really slow. So I wanted to add, if you wanted to connect with Susanna, her IG, you sent it to me. Oop, this is moving really slow. It's not typing. Are you able to put it in the comments? Or you're not, Nefertiti?
Huh? What'd you say?
Are you able to put Susanna's information in the comments?
Oh yeah, I can put it in. Sure.
Okay, yeah, you put it. You just send it to me in a private chat. Can you put it? Yeah, if you put it in the regular comments, because my thing is frozen right now.
Yeah, how do I put it in? It's not letting me write in the live comments.
It's not.
No.
It's CIP. What is it?
CIPOTAVOZ. Cipota voz.
One T. One T. CIPOTA.
One T.
Okay.
Sorry, the first one is wrong. The second one is correct. Yes,
oh, okay.
That's right. Yeah, you got it right.
That's because I wasn't sure. I was like, Cipota 7 and then what? Okay, so if you would like to connect with Susanna about getting this amazing reading done, you can hit her up on Instagram at Cipota Voz.
Yes.
Beautiful. All right. Well, thank you guys. Thank you everyone for coming out.
Thanks everybody.
Thanks Nefertiti for sharing that amazing story. That it was really beautiful to hear what you went through, this week during the new moon, and it was just nice.
Yes.
So,
cheers to evolution.
Yes, cheers to evolution.
Hey.
All right, bye everyone. Love you guys.